Olá! Bem-vindos a Gayshin! Ó, que lindeza na sua tela! A nossa Arconte Hidro, finalmente, depois de muito tempo de espera, somos pais de pet. Olha que coisa linda, nossos nenéns. Olha que lindinhos. Então é isso, vamos fazer as missões. Antes, vamos dar aquela farmadinha, né? Para os itens da nossa boneca. Cadê? Vamos lá. Deixa eu mudar de time, né? Que esse bicho aí é resistente. Esse time foi destruidor, né? Bora. Que esse time foi ótimo. Make yourself at home.
Nice and spicy.
Yep, mind the side effect. Taking a turn for the better.
Make it a turn for the better.
A bitter pill to swallow.
Nossa senhora, tadinho do bicho. Às vezes dá dó, né? E só vieram dois. Poxa. Já foi melhor, hein? Mihoyo, olha o Dracula! Quanto tempo! Trepit! Bem-vindos a Gayshin! Estamos aqui, ó, gente, dando atenção ao nosso anjo de candura. E tá longe isso aqui, hein? O nosso nenezão. Ó, já dá pra evoluir. Subiu. Subiu. Darkiriken! Voltamos, você acredita? Ninguém acredita. Mas aqui arrasamos. Mas eu vou subir aqui também. Porque eu quero. Pronto. Mas essa build dela, com 144 de dano, tem alguma coisa errada. Pera aí. Deixa eu dar uma olhada aqui, ó. Essa aqui tem menos recarga, a mesma coisa de dano, tá? E aqui tem mais dano, menos recarga. Vamos ver o que acontece com mais dano menos recarga. Aqui é vida, não tem o que fazer. Aqui é dano crítico, então não tem problema. Aqui, ó. Aqui tem mais dano crítico, menos recarga, mas vamos testar. E aqui... Isso aqui tem bastante dano crítico. Essa também tem bastante dano crítico, mas tem mais menos recarga. É. Vamos ver como ficou? Ó, é assim. Vamos ver se fará diferença na questão recarga de energia. Já no nível 60, meu bem. Tô super feliz. Peguei a Furina no 33 e Baju no 6. Lembro que eu queria muito ele também. Olha, gente, só as pessoas abençoadas em Genshin. É isso aí, o poder de ver nossas lives. Deixa eu fazer o teste aqui da boneca que eu não fiz. A Furina escala com taxa crítica. Yeah.
outlines your fate. Know my sword. Witness the power. Let's dance. Smile. Hard-hitting exclusive.
Tome.
Tease.
Going under.
Tome.
Frost is coming.
A prostitute.
Rain cutter. Rain outlines your fate. Huh? Smile.
Muy bien.
Frost is coming. Day's reckoning.
I'll protect us. Witness the power.
Tome.
Hold that pose. Hard-hitting exclusive.
É isso aí. É, até que foi divertido. Acabei do... Ai, que preguiça. Vamos lá.
Rain outlines your fate.
Rain out that way.
Let me weave you a
Tome.
animal hypostasis and
Eyes on me.
wings of darkness.
A gente fez um teste aí da Florina no level 60 no abismo e foi um sucesso saboroso. Cabuloso, eu diria.
As you wish, main Freud.
Power that isn't Python.
Ó, até que esse time foi bem. Dá pra usar uma coringa, é verdade. Eu tô sem coringa. Eu tô sem coringa mesmo. Qual que a gente pode pôr de coringa? Deixa eu ver. Uma que tem o dano crítico baixo. Essa é a que tem menos. 11. Vamos ver se eu acho uma porcentagem de vida melhor. 21. 13, 7, 21. Ô, louco. Então tem 2 com 21 aí. Será que tem algum de 21 com recarga? Não. Não. Tem esse de 21 aqui. Vamos testar? E menos recarga pra ela. Mas ó. Olha esse dano crítico. Mas a recarga tá um lixo. É agora o monohidro? Ai, o monohidro, gente, é verdade. Só assim também, né? Com 124 de recarga de HP, de energia. O que vai ser essa garota? Vamos lá, gente. Missão de Arconte, bora. Máscara da culpa. Vixe, é lá embaixo do negócio, vambora. Olha o Rick! E aí, meu querido? Bem-vindo de volta, Gayshin! Vamos lá. Esse é o momento. Ih, para de tossir na minha live, não gosto. Tô no time de Exploration. Ah, eu não aguento. Ó. um pouco lento ou não? Poderia ser mais, né? Cura mais aí, meu filho.
Wish everyone would stay safe and healthy.
The show begins.
The show begins.
Now for a little
Nossa, eu nem
bit of
lembrava disso.
Isn't something? Oh, today's our big day. We're supposed to leave the.
We're supposed to leave. Máscara da culpa. Vamos saber do bafo todo agora, gente. Minha Fufu tá no level 70. 230 de dano? Nossa! Ah, mas a vida tá 20k, entendi. Essa missão é até emocionante. Ai, que legal! Que monstro! Realmente, 230 de dano. Ah, você tem a arma assinatura dela. Nossa, emocionante. Achei bafo.
Please sign. It's been so long since we've been to the surface.
Monstruosa mesmo.
What's happening?
É a água invadindo aí o mundo.
I'm fine, thanks. Let's go ask the Duke.
É isso aí, a gente vai ser inundado aí em 1 minuto, gente. Vocês se preparem.
Swarm Fury.
E a gente vai ser inundado aqui, vai acabar tudo. Duke.
Your Grace?
Ah, good to see you two. Is there
Nossa,
something...
minha recarga tá 124, gente.
Just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. Over the years of serving as the warden here, I've developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what...
So the fortress.
If you recall our...
Huh. But wait, seriously?
Seriously?
Yep. It's you two. That's right. Today is our last day in prison. But oh yeah, then be sure.
Nosso último
If
dia da
you've
prisão.
signed the release papers, then you're free to go.
You're not going to see.
I knew you'd...
Well, you actually.
Ah, so...
After being down here for so long, yeah, don't.
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best.
Você pode ter
with that.
certeza que não, meu
Since our
filho.
work in the- We should. You're going to see Monsieur Nervillette?
I'm sure just...
Hmm.
You're right.
Então bora. Vamos embora daqui. Chega dessa vida de prisioneira. A prisão mais livre. É, o pessoal pode fazer o que quiser nessa prisão. Minha Furina tá com 28k nesse momento. No level 60. Janinha! Bem-vinda a Gayshin! Nossa, foi um bafo, menina. A gente conseguiu a Deia C1, a Kutin C2 e a Furina C2. E a Charlotte C6.
With activity today.
Só alegria.
Excuse me. I'll be right there.
I'll be
Sorry.
right there.
Everyone's so busy.
Olha, monsieur.
Hello. In the meantime, please, have a seat.
That's all right.
Very well.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to
Eu tava no pizza tentando garantido da Destiny e peguei ela. Olha que sorte. E aí, deu sorte no banner de
Are you
arma?
done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting.
Espadão celestial, Deus é mais.
Today should be the day you were released from the fortress of Meripede.
That's right. And we came.
As fofoqueiras.
A massive whale.
Do you have any idea what the...
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters, but rather something like the primordial. A whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tevat. Therefore, we can only...
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how? And is he okay?
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not... Yes? What is it?
Ah, right! We asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so we figured you might...
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter.
Ah,
The source
é
of
a
the tremor
água.
was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped.
The water levels rose?
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already... If the change in water levels is connected
Vixe
with the leaking
Maria.
primordial seawater, then the situation...
Navia should be in Poisson, right?
I would
Poisson.
also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first.
There's no time to lose.
Vamos lá, opa. Vamos investigar esse negócio. Agora tá ficando bom, gente. Evelyn, pegamos a Furica. Somos pais de pet agora. Olha, coisas lindas. Eu vou deixar vocês com esses pets aqui enquanto eu vou encher minha aguinha, gente. Pera aí, um minuto. Ai, eu comer pizza. E aí eu fico com uma sede do cão.
Boring.
Boring.
More
A Lia. O ato 5 tá babadíssimo. Tamo indo, gente. Tamo indo. Como assim trocou de conta? Saiu a foto da arma da nave. E aí, é bonita? Cadê? Deixa eu acessar aqui. Eu vi a foto do splash dela. Olha, é um machado lindo.
Navia should be around here, right? We need to make sure she's still... Hyma means we need to check on her.
Que bafo, que lindo. Saiu até o artefato, ó. Nossa, que artefato lindo que ficou. Será que é o cabo do guarda-chuva? Olha, pode ser que seja. Troquei por essa conta personagem T5 andarilho,
We
raio,
haven't seen a single
cocô,
soul all the way here.
Nossa, que delícia de conta, arrasou.
What will I ever do now?
Mas eu não vou atirar pela arma da nave também não. Porque eu tenho a espigão. Ainda não sei nem se eu vou tirar a nave, pra falar a verdade.
He looks pretty sad.
My leg. How could this?
Just hang it.
O que aconteceu aqui? É o tremor. A pessoa supostamente estava desesperada pela ferida. Supostamente. Vamos lá. Retentora Sigewine. A Sigewine 5 estrelas eu nunca vou entender.
Hey, Navia, are you okay?
Navia, não tá nada ok.
You're here.
We heard there was a situation in Poisson.
Yes. As you can see, the water.
Ih, tá preocupada.
Demoiselle, there was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety.
He's wounded? How badly?
He fell, so it's
Ih,
probably a
caramba.
broken leg.
He jumped down then. Find the leader of
Tentou
Squad
se
1
matar,
and tell him to
pronto.
take the wounded resident to see a doctor. He should know where to go.
Understood. I'll take over his.
All right.
Só pra ter a mãe do Wesley na conta.
I'm sorry.
Mãe do Wesley.
Right. A little earlier, we suddenly
Que
the rushing
jinx.
water seemed everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water didn't have a chance to escape. As those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been the water that
Caramba,
flooded the
pessoas
area
morreram.
contained primordial seawater. So the lower levels of poisson are still no one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now is try.
How awful. And all of this.
It was quite frightening indeed. I only wish that.
Is there any way we can help
Gente, que
Navia?
bafo.
Thank you for.
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Demoiselle, we've got a situation here.
E era a situation. E os capangas
I'll be
delas
right there.
morreram? Ah, eu não sei, eu não jogo
Sorry.
LOL.
I need to go for now.
Ai, gente, que triste.
And she go.
Okay, the wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. More support has just arrived, so I suppose I finally have a moment to focus on my own. Of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to Traveler. Paimon?
Huh?
O túmulo do teu
Right
pai?
now?
Thank you.
Agora, o que a gente vai fazer no cemitério essa hora, minha filha? Do nada, vamos lá no túmulo do meu pai.
Squall and Fury.
Já tive dates piores. Agora tô querendo pegar a nave, que ódio. Por quê? Por causa da espada? Da arma? Eu só acessei o Twitter e apareceu. Foi a primeira coisa que apareceu, todo mundo tá falando.
Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well,
Com Millie, bem-vinda a Gayshin.
How?
Olha lá.
Navia?
Ih, caramba. Ih, caramba, não aguento ver ela chorando.
Sorry.
Ah, tadinha.
Malus and Silver. They won't ever come back here again.
Por quê?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still, they were helping evacuate the residents, and I've known them for so long. And I could at least hold a funeral for my father,
Meu Deus.
and I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just...
Tadinha.
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect.
I can understand.
See, it's not just me.
Ah,
How
gente,
could
por
it
que ela,
get to the
por que ela só
cemetery?
sofre nesse
No
jogo?
need
Não
yet.
aguento.
But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Cal.
Hey,
I'm quite serious.
That makes sense.
Eu
that
comecei
case-
agora, com o meu.
Could I be buried on his other side?
After all, besides you,
É Komi,
Demoiselle,
né?
two of
Konami.
us could certainly be
Ah, agora que eu
considered
entendi, é
Master's
Konami.
closest companions, no?
Personally, I believe we fill those.
why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously. But I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip? I'd promised to let them rest in peace here. I'm
Tadinha.
sorry for letting you see me in a mess like this.
Paimon doesn't know how to help.
I had always thought I could loosen Silver. I'm so...
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia.
By the way, you can have a look at this.
Obana, so
It's okay. The overall outcome indicates that the cost.
Right. Melusins.
You're right. What you said just now.
Que triste.
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we
Eita!
last met.
Eita, primo!
The knave?
Is everything going well on your side?
Yes, my people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson
Eita,
have
que ela
been
tá ajudando.
evacuated, and we're preparing to relocate them to higher ground. As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no...
Thank you.
Eita,
Very much.
que ela tá ajudando o negócio aqui.
Wait. Do you two?
We just met recently. Right.
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Thanks to the knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui.
From
which
the
allowed us to complete
Fatui.
the rescue and evacuation.
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area.
Olha o
and I
Fatui
needed to see it was
ajudando o
nothing.
povo, mais que a
That said,
Furina.
I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on.
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui before. My subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head.
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend lending your organization a hand was a natural...
Without your help, there would have been
O
many
artefato
more
de healer é muito
casualties.
lindo. Ai, não cheguei a ver esse, eu
Furthermore,
vi só o do
I
gel.
sincerely regret what happened to Malus.
É linda, né, Evelyn? Eu amei também.
I only wish...
Don't say that. You and your subordinate. As Paimon said, Malus and Silver didn't. I've never liked hearing people.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss. Water is life to Fontaine's people.
Essa serva é
and it
muito
also spells
boazinha.
So, you're one who.
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de...
Polida, né? Educada.
By the way, traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
Hum.
All right, then we'll just.
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to... Traveler, I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had... You and I both know that there may be issues with the primordial sea. Previously, it was the fortress of Meripede's sluice gate, and this time it was the water level. Indeed. Allow me
Indeed.
to share the latest intel I've received from the... During some recent investigations, a child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. Judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. The situation is... My people initially came...
So, that's why.
I wanted to take the children along, but Linny told me that outside of the house, which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the
Ah.
Hearth's members see each other as family. But Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you. I'm sure
Então eu
you
sou da
already
família
understand.
agora?
Oh,
The intel I just shared about...
got it. So all we got.
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss...
But are you sure you're up to explore?
Opa, bora?
There's no point. Besides,
Since you put it
Uma
that
loirona
way.
dessa no meu
All
time?
right.
Okay, let's do.
Por que eu tô chamando a China de serva? Eu acho que é um apelido, né? Vamos pras ruínas. Ai, meu Deus. O que que vai ser isso?
Quit following me. Too slow.
Uma das armas mais lindas do jogo. Emocionou, então. Gostou mesmo, né? Do machadão.
The wind rises.
The Moon Rises.
Quit following me.
Ah. Eu tô gripado? Pior que eu tô um pouco. Pior que eu estou um pouco. Dá pra perceber? E eu fiquei... Ai, eu gripei bem no lançamento da Furina. Foda-se. Eu vou atirar mesmo assim.
So, are these the ruins the knave was?
they seem to be.
Let's go.
Just be.
E vambora.
Too slow.
Base secreta. Ai, meu Deus. Vamos com esse time que não tem erro. A voz tá fanha. Ai, gente, vocês vão ter que lidar com essa voz aí. Eita, preula. Vocês estão dormindo aqui?
Everybody okay?
Settle down.
Dada candela. Que isso? Opa, tem um baú aqui.
Commit it to memory.
Arrasamos. Mostra a build dos caras. Os meus caras tá suculento. Croadíssima. Como diria o ditado, coroa parada não aumenta dano.
This place has also been contaminated by primordial seawater.
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment they
Right.
É, você não tá segura aqui não, mulher.
Primordial seawater. It's too dangerous and it won't be any help for you to just stay here.
É, meu Deus. Sai daí, mulher.
Don't get by my wrong. We're not saying you're useless. It's just that
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. I'll leave this to you.
Então vai, foge, corra.
That complicates things.
in that case,
I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit.
all right.
Vambora. Mais lugares como em Canômia, será?
Oh no, it's a dead end. Let's try climbing over from the side.
Ih, caralho. Não posso cair no negócio? Ô, mo doido. Ah, não, pera aí, gente. Bien. E agora, pra lá? Como? Ah, por aqui. Aqui. Bora. Abra de sésamo. Eita. Parece em Canômia mesmo. Eita, preula. Corre, 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 corre. Ih, meu Deus, é a cena que ela cai? Ai, meu Deus. Não! Não acredito.
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing?
Maybe she just wants some.
Yes, it.
That's quite possible.
Eita.
However, you...
Oh, right. It must have slipped my... This is a familiar feeling.
is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. I was just trying to recall...
Do you remember Mr. Giverny?
We were headed to see how.
Ah, right.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus.
Eita.
And Mr. Silver, too.
How have you been?
I've been great. Thanks to your help. They were
Olha o
knocking at
Vedela
my door day and night. Even my neighbor
Mange.
Opena was getting...
Sometimes.
E aí, meu rei, já fez as missões?
That's right.
Oh, yes, Miss Navia. These are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. I don't know what we would have...
Ah, did you cultivate them yourself?
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, Demoiselle.
Demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants.
Very well.
Wait. Excuse me, madam. If I'm not...
That's right.
That's right.
No, it's nothing. I've heard this name before. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time.
Huh? We do?
Well, now,
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you.
Do nada.
My trial.
Yes,
Ganha a
she's right,
Furina em
mademoiselle.
20 tiros o garantido. Olha! E aí, você é zero? Tá se divertindo?
Look, it's Navia. She's here.
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
Hum?
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be all Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many people? And as for the judge... huh?
please sit in the defendant's seat.
All right. But
Typically, it
acontecendo?
wouldn't be allowed.
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Ela é belíssima. É uma delícia, né? Jogar com ela. Eu tô amando também.
enough with the whisper.
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized what you've done? As all here know, you are Master Callus's successor. That after you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. If anyone in need reached not only you, but your butler, your subordinates.
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why we are one big family, all of us. Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you...
Hã?
Everything you...
Ah, well, if...
How wonderful!
I know all these people.
O que tá
Why are they
acontecendo?
laughing?
I seem to remember.
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What
Melis?
was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her
Joinville.
now.
Stay here, Navia. You're one of us.
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you here.
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mistress Ronville,
She was born a free and independent spirit.
her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any group. She merely acted. Please do not mistake her.
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This
quem que é o
is the
diretor?
even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return. Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro. Now I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay.
Eita.
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. Have you forgotten how much you all once...
Do you mean to defy?
If your justice is flawed, then why should...
As you said, we
tá
can
acontecendo?
also have our own justice. And that...
Demoiselle,
Acorda, mulher.
It hurts. I remember now. Everything that seemed Karina,
Acorda.
Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and
Joinville.
Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier, even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Sim, você também.
don't be afraid. And don't...
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? Don't let them escape!
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver.
Mr.
Must you be
Malus.
so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just.
Eita.
Navia belongs to... After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
Eita.
What are you saying? No more excuses!
She says we're jealous. Jealous? How could
Eita,
she
que tá tudo
possibly?
virando
With
Oceanide.
these people.
Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us.
Miss...
Gente, que absurdo.
Silence.
Silence.
That's...
Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you... The court will adjourn for the rest of the day. In this, I shall...
Our thanks, Miss...
Please leave with me, Miss Navia, while there is still time.
But
Eita.
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your...
Loose.
My apologies. I
Vai,
couldn't
menina.
resist making
Foge,
one little
corre.
joke once I realized
Come to the light.
Malus. Silver.
Quickly, you must come.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
E o que foi isso, gente?
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake. Good.
É ele mesmo.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive.
It looks like
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a night?
the ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, you were just about to be dissolved within. I think I
Ah,
saw
foi ele
two
que salvou ela?
Oceanids protecting you.
Não.
It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a second. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able to.
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like...
Perhaps those two Oceanids were the people you
I
Ô,
always told them.
louco. Que loucura. Baby Jane, obrigado pela seguidinha.
Neverlet, are you okay?
Não, tô péssima.
Oh, I am quite all.
Why do you look so... Oh, Paimon knows. You're the...
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time. Ah, Sijuin. I hope all is well with her these days.
No way, don't worry. She's doing fine now.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always worked.
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Seedream made him do that.
Thank you.
Ah, pai é muito
I have indeed
fofoqueira.
been busy lately.
He still doesn't... So, Neverlet. This isn't going anywhere.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson. Amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed...
Yeah, we
Ah, ela é sincera. Eu não consigo entender os Fatui ajudando a gente.
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now.
Much better.
I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neverlet?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right, another one joins the...
Another one bite the dust. Subimos.
Oh no, another one...
Ih, caramba. Ih, caramba. Tudo podre. Tá tudo mofado, tá tudo cagado, tá tudo fudido. Ih, Brasil. Nossa, Brasil. Eu só trabalho com gênio. Aqui, ó. O que é isso aqui? O que tá acontecendo aqui? Nem o jogo sabe explicar o que tá acontecendo. Dani, bem-vinda a Gayshin. Sofreu aqui também? Ah, então não fui só eu. Nossa.
There is no escape.
There is no escape. O inferno.
Almost at the top. Keep it up.
Pauzinho. Peguei a gatíssima C2. Olha, todo mundo pegando ela, gente. Adoro. E a arma do Baiju. Vocês são tudo doidos de atirar nesse banner de arma, já falei. O que vai ser aqui, meu Deus? Ah, você pegou o Baiju também. Eu fiz tudo com o Scara. Ah, eu esqueci de trazer o Scara. Flutuanos. É claro que eu sou louco, eu jogo Gayshin, tá explicado, né? Eita. Onde que eu tava? A gente vai entrando, né? Sem medo de ser feliz.
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Foi 400 tiros e um sonho, mas peguei bastante coisa, tá? A Fury nasceu, veio junto. Olha! Não acredito.
Perhaps
Que
we should just
sorte!
leave
Eu
them
não
be
tive
then.
essa sorte.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates.
the surrounding.
There's something written below. Let Paimon see. Reason dictates that this nation be destroyed.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose.
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, this.
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same.
And is that Lady Farina in the third
Eita.
image? Did the Hydro Archon fall into the water?
And is that a ring of people
The fourth image. I know this one. This.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters. And
Vixe. O que ele fez?
more information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover.
Don't blame yourself, Miss.
Ooh, the Paimon's getting the chills just. This says that it.
I.
Still.
Vamos continuar. Não, fomos de 10 em 10. A gente deu mais de 300 e quase uns 310 tiros por aí.
That's right. If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the fourth, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the third, where the Hydro Archon herself falls into the water?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the third image. That means that the person in the second image might be the previous Hydro Archon.
Previous.
Egeria, then. I
Egeria.
had never met her, but her appearance, the previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? Also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents...
But who would have created.
It seems that any further clues will have to come from Farina.
In that case, there's no time to lose.
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Eu vi a arma da nave, a coisa mais linda. Eu tô bem tentado a atirar por ela, viu? Vamos ver a gameplay, que deve vazar nas próximas horas aí.
Let's split up here.
You still have.
Just head back to the flu.
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work. Traveler, I will go talk. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my...
Are you really gonna.
She has long...
Alright.
I will be...
Alright.
Traveler, Paimon. Our safe house at the... Alright.
Eu vou encontrar, provavelmente vou pegar a retentora. A retentora vem depois da nave, né? Eu acho que eu vou pegar as duas. Não sei, vamos ver.
Welcome back.
Yay! And there's.
A retentora eu quero muito. Muito, 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 muito.
Paimon's already starting to forget.
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it is?
Amona!
It's you two.
Ela tá devendo até aqui.
Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they've got time to just see who they'll... Still, we didn't expect to see you here! Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out first. Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Magistus doesn't sound much like a Mondstadter surname? Well, I used to have my own surname, which was, well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took me, there was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now. Nope. Although it is used by us in place of... Wow! Imagine including a boast.
Mas então ela não é de Fontaine?
In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to take one. Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus. Whoa, that's a long one. My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great scholar of the stars. Thrice as great? I know, right?
I know, right?
That's just how she is. She used to call her... Talk about it. Magistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same... That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you, Mona? You're from... Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes.
Ah lá, ela
My
nasceu em
parents migrated to
Mondstadt.
Dornenport, and I traveled with the old hag for a while, after which I settled down in Mondstadt City. Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we know... Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? I know you're not... There's something ominous about it. Well, the water.
Ah, a voz era dela mesmo. Ela tá devendo até aqui, ó.
That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the invitation was sent quite early on. What do you make of that? What I can tell you is that I'm afraid that this... But on the flip side... A visionary? Sound... Of course. The old hag could do it, and... Thanks, Mona!
Oh, thanks, Mona.
That's the greatest... Indeed, and...
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business.
Vai.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with... Right, but we were able to recruit...
Bem, a gente descobriu aí que Mona não é de Fontaine, né?
Good morning. To be honest, I'm still feeling kind of sleepy.
Velasquez. Pois bem-vindo a Gayshin.
But it's time to get up,
Vamos ao escritório de noviletes. Eu já posso mudar para o time de exploração, né? Que esse aqui... Bora.
You're here!
It's...
Monsieur Durvalette and Lady Fer...
Eita.
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. You are the Hydro Archon Focalor, are you not?
Are you not?
Look at this. This is a list of the victims from the recent Poisson.
A gente quer resposta.
You mean...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster. And I will say this once more. You must tell me Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you...
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything but you found them in...
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The other 3... The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky.
I don't. I've never...
I'll ask you again. Do you really have... My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to or apologize for...
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. Is it really so strange that I understand your concerns, but I'm so...
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations into certain matters. There are several indications that you have been investigating the... This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet...
Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then there's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate.
You're still my subordinate.
Just trust in me, your Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. That's all I have to say. We do not Oh, the opera's about to start.
Toodles! Ela mais ou menos falou assim: você trabalha pra mim, fica quietinho, beijos.
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her.
I assume you've been outside for...
Oh! You know...
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the base... Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. The issue is her attitude. I fear that she will not reveal... We may have to create a situation in which she will...
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps we must have...
Eita!
Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions.
We will need to consider this thoroughly. Join forces with...
Eita!
If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but... This may be cruel to her, but all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is... But who will lend...
Quem? A serva.
Well, that's speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most...
That's what families should do.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone.
É um complô contra a Farina.
One of you might like to start us off. How about...
Me?
Me?
Then, how about you, good sir?
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become...
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize this.
That was a
Olha,
don't you...
Clorinda.
You might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be pooling our...
Oh?
Intrigante.
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Clorand.
Huh?
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice.
I see.
He is glad that you consider him your boss. Do...
Quem?
In that case, do any of you have experience hunting?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger.
I've also gone...
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society. Taking up arm, a trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now...
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Our line of work requires a...
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even...
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit.
Esse aí tá sempre triste.
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some I remember that you like those.
I did. And that would be a good way to go about.
What about you, Monsieur
I fear I do not have any.
That makes sense. You usually solve problems direct, but I do have one more question. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design it?
Eita.
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey.
Kind, as always. However, if we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that—
Wait, why—
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
So...
Huh. We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda works,
Caçadori.
maybe it's still not the best.
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, but we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge.
Oh, so that's what's going.
Eita. Eita, que a gente tá fazendo um complô contra a Furina, gente. Meu Deus, do nada. Minha princesa. Tadinha da Fufu. Tamo montando um complô contra ela, gente. Um golpe de estado. Tô me sentindo o próprio Temer. Minha água acabou, gente. Pera aí, rapidinho. Vamos lá.
Paimon didn't think the meetings would go on for... Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon well, it's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with it. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you?
Eu sou?
Did you just pour some tea? Paimon's never seen that cup.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you two for tea.
Hã?
Who's that for?
Aw, have you—
Wait, you are familiar.
The voice from the sky, I feel— You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion. Consider
Eita.
me a passerby.
Ah,
Just
não.
accepting it. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be
Eita.
fulfilled. You may view such things as the history of the future.
What?
Do nada, que isso?
I believe you have witnessed a failed
Meu
attempt with your
Deus.
own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? So just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where the gods' gaze does not fall? Are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about?
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant, but others you must ultimately. Fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter.
This was good tea by
The voice.
Qual que foi a pista? Eu não entendi.
Alright. Hey, it's you who's getting late.
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively band.
Mona!
Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that. Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that.
Did she?
Why, yes.
Ah,
It's
Charlotte.
I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very.
That's right! Paimon's.
Ah, yes. About what we. Huh?
Convidada
Goodness
misteriosa.
gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the gods to be all-knowing.
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, but I've never met her. And she is
Ela
still
gosta de
alive.
guiar os outros que tá perdido.
Well, suffice it to say that the hag's at least a few hundred now, and N's been around for longer than that.
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group. But they must really...
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then the problem you're facing...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything she...
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things around. Perhaps it is something that you... Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
Tamo supimpa.
Kind of feels like...
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate, but even so, perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go. It was worth trying to come. I suppose that might...
E sempre se encontrando aí, por
Paimon
coincidência.
feels kind of moved by what Mona said. Hey, Traveler. Paimon said... Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by.
Ela quer dar uma caminhada. Ela que voa.
Quit following me.
Quit following me.
Huh? Let Paimon see!
Nós
The
famosos?
underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble autonomy. My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report. A blind adventurer with their white fairy, legends trailing in their wake. It is said that this So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear. Journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet. Huh. Charlotte took so many up. She hasn't been able to get a hold of anything. Ugh, seriously?
Vamos lá.
Too slow.
Too slow. Ó, nossa furica.
We're here! Paimon.
O que vai acontecer aqui, meu Deus?
Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it!
1 slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia!
Oh, are you here to buy cake too? It seems Monsieur Nervalette was right.
Wait, did he really say something like that?
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every
Usually every day.
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't...
But why would it...
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No. It's the same for eating
Eita. Cara, não entendeu.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have these 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call being sad.
Being sad.
You know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the... She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and you can only lift their spirit.
É verdade.
So I'll be going...
Tem coisa melhor quando a gente tá triste, comer uma comida gostosa?
There she goes. All right, let's dig in.
Eu quero o bolo.
It's more delicious than last time. Sure would be nice if we could always eat good.
Nossa, os lembros do bolo da... Como chamava? Sabor aos pedaços. Nossa, que delícia. Olha quanta receita. Receita de lasanha. Então com desconto aí por causa da reputação. Nossa, que sucesso, gente. A minha farinha tá acabando. Preciso comprar farinha. Minha manteiga tá acabando. Aqui minha geleia. Meu bacon. Eu vou no mercado. Tô no mercado, vou aproveitar. Deixa eu aproveitar também e comprar essa receita aqui, né? Confit de pato. Lasanha, consumê, cassoulet. Comprar tudo, vamos comprar tudo. Olha, a gente tem 4 tiros aqui. Será que vem a Deia? Imagina mais uma Deia na nossa conta? Não. Não. Ou uma Faruzan, né? Imagina uma Faruzan danada. Ih, brilhou. A Faruzan. A Faruzan, a Faruzan. Ah, sacrifício. Nada. Você que eu tenho umas armas que a gente ganhou aí dos tiros também. Aqui, ó, Memórias do Sacrifice. E agora a gente tem mais um arco de sacrifício, refinamento 5, talvez. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sim, mais uma no refinamento 5. Que mais? Memória do sacrifício. No refinamento 2. Eu tenho mais memórias? Tem uma no 5 aqui. E nada, e essas? Já tem uma Favônio no 5. Uma no 2. As Favônios aqui já tem uma no 5, uma no 4. Eu pensei que eu tinha mais memória sacrifício. Eles não tem um dia de paz. Não tem nada. Sobra um dia.
Oh, we're near the Seabird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon!
É claro que a gente viu.
You've got some nerve. You just used us to make some quick mora.
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson some time back, so I sent you a letter to discuss. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you.
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were...
Oh, Paimon knows you're not...
Still, what brings you here all of a...
When Mona
Então ela vai
mentioned
pagar a
that, we
gente.
thought
I see. So she mentioned me?
What did she said that you're
Nice.
Huh?
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography.
Live photography.
Are we even
Why not? If I Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor and ooh, so much to get.
Ai, que doida, ela é muito empolgada.
Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example, Fontaine were to be...
Huh. That's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, if you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a From what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the work. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still succeed, and then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that. I'm not a dreamer, but anyway.
Que doida. Ela escreveria uma história dela mesma.
Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we?
Olhar o mar?
The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed tomorrow. No, Paimon should ask if you could... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't have. You mean, still traveling? Huh.
Mas é claro. Tudo está indo bem até aqui.
Feels like you'll grow mold if you stay here long enough. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermont?
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillat sent me to look for you. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Maréchaussée Phantom has declared...
Alright!
Well,
Alright.
that said, Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House. And while she was resting during an intermission, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy. And before she could respond, the crowd continued to grow and protest against the Hydra.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for...
I agree. People
Eita.
will naturally rely on God.
So what happened after that?
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument, the Maréchaussée Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone.
So, you mean...
That's right.
Ela desapareceu, gente.
Many people. That said, I don't think there's much to worry about. Good.
Don't worry. This...
Is that so?
Well,
A cara
sounds like
deles.
we should hurry over to Poissal then. If we know for... And as we all... When Nervillat was... It would be hard... Paimon thinks for... Huh. Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can do the analysis. In that case, there's none of...
Bora.
Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible.
Por que ela estaria aqui, né? E ela tá mesmo.
That's Farina, right over there.
What was meant to happen did happen after. Everyone, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Give up, Farina. There's no point in holding. I'm sorry. But
Eita.
what can I even do other than to repeat meaningless? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. It's just...
So it is you, blonde traveler from another land.
Ah?
You were crying just now, weren't you?
What do you mean, tear stains?
Who did that uncivilized couple think they were? They even dare to tout their Archon! I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Nouvellette and those people from the Marsh Chaussee Phantom are freaking out right next to them too.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Huh?
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some rabid fan. That's against the rule.
Farina just ran off.
Eita. Tá ficando doido isso aqui. Quem tá querendo entrar no meu mundo? Sinto muito. E o Stongo perdeu de vista.
This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick!
What?
Hurry, they're almost here.
Fine. I suppose haste. No, I mean, I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they displayed.
Yep.
What's happening? The ground.
Yeah, a quake of this.
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Nouvellette's made some.
Yeah, but the people of Puss.
Eita.
It's true. I've been investigating the process.
Ah, ela vai falar. Ai, meu Deus, ela vai falar.
I once had informants all over Tevat, searching for clues and feeding information back to me. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea. Anything but all my efforts proved to be futile in the end. Really, we cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. Give up. I do love the sound of indeed. I've thought about giving up so many times. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and obeys no rules. The prophecy has only... But just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will keep hope alive. Well, that's enough for now. I got the end. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine...
Come on!
Share. That's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat from beyond the stop, and if Tevat is in its entirety a show.
Desempuxa. Ai, meu Deus, é agora. Fala. Ai, meu Deus. Eita. Mas a hora que ela ia confessar...
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes my opening performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
Oh?
So, this is what it is. Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the... Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice. The embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike...
May I interpret these words? As your in that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Ish. Ish.
Paimon can't believe it. She...
What the heck is going on?
Wow, how utterly...
Lady Farina.
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the...
Looking for excuses
Que
again?
ela tá
I
falando?
raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance. I will admit that I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to... You are not the only ones to be disappointed in... But now, I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice!
The true meaning of justice.
I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Oh, now we're making... Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Wait, also, even though she's still acting super dramatic...
All right, then. Who will be...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Eita.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat. My accused...
Tava tão perto mesmo, tão perto. Silence.
Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of this...
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely... So, we arranged for a second group.
So, you mean...
Olha, tudo
ones who scoured the settlement for
planejado.
me were also from the Spina.
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate.
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when the
Olha.
volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between was an Archon instead of a... My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have... Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull... We had to select a location, construct a giant magic box...
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt...
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster.
Olha.
Then, I can guess, Nervila, you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion... Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage...
Yes, that is correct.
Olha, ela foi
Floran,
pega.
I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding... As for you, traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me you'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the Oh? It's fine. It matters. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the...
Meu Deus.
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a perfect... So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence as...
Yeah.
Let's quickly confirm the information in it.
Ah, vou ter que ler tudo?
As a refresher, alright?
Ah, não.
You defeated the Hydro
Misericórdia.
I didn't. This is the first of I mean, the words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be truly understood when something surreal happens.
Deus, vamos fingir que lemos.
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
A gente já ganhou uma vez, podemos ganhar de novo.
Come on, Nervylette. There, just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead, of course, it is only natural for human...
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Eita.
What was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for
Charge accepted.
Eita. Do nada.
Lady Farina, do you plead guilty? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather
Yeah, I've never questioned her
I have cause to believe that common sense
Eita.
will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me. If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. If you must persist, then let me ask. If you believe, and if I was not the Archon.
Ai, meu Deus. Ah, algum tipo de maldição.
First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And second of all, even if that wasn't the case, there...
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave?
Hmm?
You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might naturally resemble a type of curse. But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your...
You sensed it too, huh, Nervlet?
Uma humana amaldiçoada.
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult.
Eita.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why for centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or...
Outro child, né?
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared Child to be guilty?
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are naturally
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your current circumstances while the court is in session. The principles of justice and the law must come before all else. While you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue to withhold vital information against the rules of the court.
Eita.
I never thought.
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the rules.
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty. Instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that I did not know why the Oratrice, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And it has been up. You can't argue that just because a divine creation is flawed.
She's still throwing out all
Eita.
kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power over the Oratrice.
My power as an Archon. There are many ordinary citizens in...
If that poses a concern...
You don't need...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or is it...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with energy for their daily lives.
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power? Can a god with no power...
Eita.
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please?
If what the prosecutor said is true, she really...
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grand...
Eita preula.
That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's existence, nor can you...
Wow, she came up with yet another
Será só uma humana? Não sei. Da Návia? Acertei?
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think...
Não. Será? Não. Ai. Esse, sei lá.
It has been established that all Fontainians can dissolve in water from the primordial sea.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here.
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in partnership with the...
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, including the... So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching the seawater would have no... But if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically
Eita.
proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler...
Navia from the Spina di Rasula.
Eita.
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontainian like all the rest.
E agora? E agora? E agora?
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution. As it falls outside the realm of standard court proceedings, you...
Well, of course he had to tell her that. But refusing to participate...
She's just staring at the water without saying...
What's going on? Is she really planning...
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina, you may...
Ela pôs a mão.
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! If you believe me now, I really am your arc...
Miss Siegeween? If you are present, Miss Siege...
Siege? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few... That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was...
Thank you, Miss Siegeween. Lady Farina.
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get to...
Huh?
Considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the sea. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to... We don't want anyone else to lose their life to...
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample, and it's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually you.
I can't...
Eita.
Listen to me, everyone. Please don't think about it. How can you conclusively prove that an Archon can't also be affected by the prime? Also, if I was really just a human, why would I? Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear. I am your Archon.
Tadinha.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think they're...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the
Vixe,
final
agora. Tô com dó dela também. Eu tô amando a Furina, Dark Vini. Eita.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's too stacked against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty.
Guilty. Tadinha.
We shall now turn to the oratrice mécanique d'analyse caught
Que vai dar isso aqui? Tadinha da Furina.
According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale, Farina is...
Well, what's wrong? What's the oratrice's verdict?
No, the oratrice also displays a guilty verdict.
Isn't that correct?
However, the exact wording of the verdict is thus: the Hydro Archon, guilty, to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we've...
Eita. Mas quem foi sentenciado à morte foi a Arconte Hydro. Se ela não é Arconte Hydro, então...
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to Fontaine's current definitions of justice, Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have been committed?
Yeah! Even Vacher wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real—
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, the very point of our trial today was also to prove that. But now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the...
Eita.
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still going?
Onde você tava, menino? Tá dormindo?
You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission Father is...
Is that the first prophecy slip? Huh. So the knave privately arranged for
I looked everywhere and finally... But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please
Mr.
allow me to
Fremine.
review...
Agora Genshin foi longe demais.
I believe that you have already seen the other exist...
Muito triste ver esse povo chorando aí. Primeiro foi a Návia.
So what do you see? What is—
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine's lost history.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait, no, that's— so when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean the real—
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stones. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other three—
Ah. Meu Deus. Medo. Vamos ver isso aqui.
Stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids turn into humans. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon wasn't expecting that. The second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. Does this mean that the third slate shows the Hydro Archon sinking into the sea surrounded by many people. That reminds Paimon, well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontainians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea. That we didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we?
Que?
That doesn't sound quite right.
Uma hora vai.
We know from the case of the serial disappearances of young women that Fontainians can be dissolved in primordial seawater. And the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro Archon used her power to turn Oceanids into humans. This might be the reason that Fontainians can dissolve. Perhaps what
A
is
gente
about
erra,
to
mas
take
uma hora
place
certa.
has all happened before. The true sin of the Hydro Archon that Nervalet mentioned, and the original sin cast down on the people of Fontaine by Celestia, as recorded on the stone slates. It's not as simple as falling into the sea. The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro Archon in the sea. Could that be alluding to the same thing?
That could be alluded to the same thing?
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. But not the fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve if we hadn't dealt with it in time.
E o que isso nos fala? Ah, a gente vai marcando toda, uma hora dá.
Primordial sea but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the seawater, converge, and take the form of an oceanid. The Hydro Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Perhaps this means that her sin was actually Fontaine's original sin. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness, and was forced to take... The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we combine...
E aí?
Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! So that's how you... But then it feels like... we're going to have...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
We're...
All Fontanians were originally created by the late previous Hydro Archon, with oceanids as their basis.
Eita.
The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could dissolve in primordial seawater, and how all the girls Vacher dissolved were also turned into oceanids. Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved, she also saw everyone gathered around for a trial. All of them in the shape...
Indeed.
Ah, esse foi o crime dela.
That she probably angered Celestia by creating humans without prior permission. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro Archon to be guilty. It's
the Hydro Archon's true sin was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophet... In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon... Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know. However, while you were able to decode all the information when we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hit. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make...
Interessante.
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontainus. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and in the Fontaine of Gold, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves expressed to the... However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the seven, did not possess the authority to create a new form of human life. Not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's... She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid... But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true history of how the...
So you...
That's way too much information for me.
É muita informação
Would the
mesmo,
Hydro
gente.
Archon be sentenced to death? After all, her only sin was creating us.
This really might be too much information for your...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water depicted in this slate is not water. The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of trials and justice. Instead of being the literal element, you may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was surrounded by that of many others. Therefore, the mean that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court of justice.
Eita.
Yes, it refers.
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, even in truth, everything we've done has happened exactly as the prophecy.
What should we do?
Eita.
Huh. No matter what,
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption, as for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered it once before.
A fonte da catástrofe.
This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
Doesn't sound... A baleia.
It was both dream and reality.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial...
The truth, the original sin.
O que a baleia tem a ver com isso? Eu não entendi. Ih, caramba. Acabou a Fontaine. Eita, preula. Do nada. Do nada. Eita. Eita, que é o Child versus a baleia? Essa eu não esperava. Por essa ninguém esperava. Ele é o maioral, essa é uma entrada. Olha que lindos. E esse buracão?
That was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it is chosen to make it. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontainians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontainians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to—
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, from the way he looked, he must have been fighting the—
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster—
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the Primordial Sea's energy before we could notice it. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can. We've come so far. You can't just tell me that the last—
Indeed. That's not how a grand—
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
Mais ou menos.
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. You may view such things as the
Olha lá,
history
memórias.
of the future. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could think ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what.
Perdeu. Eita. É verdade. Tem alguma coisa aí faltando.
What's happening with the Oratrice?
Oratrice.
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
Por que ele tá azul? Eita. Que isso? Que isso que eu vi? Que lindo.
You.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just
Será
too
que é a
amazing.
Egeria?
I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
The sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success. But to answer your question, I am Focalor. You know, the god.
Focalor.
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, no. But I had to fool everyone else too, if I was to stand any chance of deceiving the heavenly principles.
The heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heavenly principles.
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. Fontaine condemned to be flooded. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets more disastrous than a preordained national catastrophe, now does it? She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to pass, and as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, it was a rather impossible situation that I found myself in. I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I was almost growing barnacles by the time I finally realized there was only one possible solution to this. I had to outwit the heavenly principles, allow the prophecy to be fulfilled, ostensibly at least, while saving everyone at the same time. I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume that's why Egeria chose me as her successor. Although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of the Hydro Archon, and not to mention the original sin of creating a new race. But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be one of her Oceanid familiar.
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed into a human by Egeria's hand.
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still
Menina, ela
do,
também
even
era uma
now.
Oceanide.
In my eyes, to be human is to be part of the greatest opera. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self on her first day as a human being. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart I left behind, I named Farina. She could feel joy, sorrow, and
Contraparte.
everything in between. She could be as vain and conceited, or as meek and vulnerable as she wished. Her strengths were of a kind only a human could possess, as were her shortcomings. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was
Menina.
perfectly human in every way. The person I always wanted to be. Anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly principles. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina to be an actress, to play the part of the Hydro Archon in the prophecy, under the curse I
Menina.
placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she free to live her life in the pursuit of happiness. Instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the role of leading lady, to forever play the part. I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the Opera Epiclese.
But Farina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that. I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, me in human, it's been 500 years, and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely, and agonizingly
Gente, que
painful opera of all
horror!
time.
500 anos no mesmo papel. Já tô dentro dela de novo. A Meredith Grey de Teivati. 500 anos no mesmo papel. A Jennifer Aniston de Teivati.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto
Olha,
the
já tá no
stage?
cinema.
I understand your admiration for my august self. But I must ask you to keep to the rule. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. I must
O que é essa outra palavra aparecendo aqui?
display the utmost
Tenho que encontrar uma maneira.
Dear audience, the performance is experiencing
Grito sem
a
eco.
technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon.
Solidify.
Solidifique.
Hey, what gives? The audience
Silêncio
is
sem
still
fim.
watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards?
Guards?
Guards!
E aí? Me mostre como você se sente. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Eita, sou eu mesma.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How?
Mirror you, huh?
Que
You know
linda.
That
Mirror me.
the prophecy. Have you heard of it?
What prophecy? The people will all be dissolved into the waters.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to remember.
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
Não há escapatória.
Doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people. I will tell you how to save everyone, but you may have to suffer somewhat.
Ih, caramba.
Oh,
Vai sofrer mais?
So there's still hope after all. As for the suffering, well, I will admit that the first thing that but if the prophecy will come true, if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one...
I suppose this would also be the justice that belongs to you.
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well. Fontaine has just lost its Hydro Archon. I need you to play a role. That of the new Archon.
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. You must never let any... If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy. But...
Eita.
How will I do that?
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play being a human yourself. I'm sure you already know what such an entity would be like. Remember, Your true challenge will not be pursuing divin.
I'm still not sure So, how long?
To accomplish this mission,
Muitos
you will
anos.
have to stay on the but I promise you, all will eventually
A trial. Huh.
Eita preula. Conversação de Furina. Tá interessante.
The Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro Archon. Indeed, in truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god, but it will be my honor to guide you all. As the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do all within my power to— Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any questions or suggestions, please— I thought I might stammer, but thankfully—
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit—
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions there at the end.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest.
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might—
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone suspecting me of being right? Mirmi said that I just need to play the role of a god as you— Calm down, Farina. Think assertive, with a strong sense of presence. One who can dispel— Now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day— Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you may consider my previous act a door gift of so— Now then, let it—
So that was just a performance. I'd forgotten that we were inside.
Personality? It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before. Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful.
Eles amaram.
Yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your— We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. No, this won't work. They'll suspect me again. I must play the role that they want me to play. The scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hand. May law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. All that is needed is for you, my people. So long as I, the Archon Focalor,
The Archon Focalor.
so long as I stand before the—
Arrasamos. Ópera Epiclese, Furina.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of the follow-up for your perusal.
Come now, was I not just at the Opera House in person? Besides,
None of these trials.
If I may be so impertinent, what kind of trial?
A magnificent, dramatic, and wondrous trial.
Magnificent, dramatic, and wonderful.
That's true. I fear I lack the ability to grasp your.
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now.
Lá. Esse ato tá entregando tudo. Eu tô amando.
I don't know what to say. Thank you for agreeing to see me.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense of perseverance instead. Oh, I'm a... All right. Deuteria, is it? How it...
He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to seek an audience with...
Oh, good.
You're such a gentle and wise God.
Vamos lá.
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
Hidrológicos.
As for the specific parameters you asked to take note of.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass. Forget.
Well, as I understand it, the Fontaine Research Institute is...
Really?
I'm afraid...
Really? Vamos lá. A cama.
The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's... Maybe this is fine. All right. For...
Vamos lá, ato 4.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest cases, as well as a summary of the...
There'll be no need for that. I've seen them already. They're...
Lady Farina, I've...
Indeed, my dear, loyal citizen. This...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological anomalies.
Understood. Keep monitoring.
Eu tô vendo.
I don't think I let it. I just don't know. I feel utterly...
Ato 5. Vambora. Velho, imagina isso por 500 anos. Ave Maria. Ato de 182 mil.
Lady Farina, it's... I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you...
And what a fine family yours is indeed. It brings... What is...
Are you crying?
This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god who...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation.
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have passed by now. I never imagined.
Tadinha.
Reached my limit. I want to tell someone. I've conducted so many investigations across the century. All I can do is keep heart. I must maintain.
Vixe Maria. Saiu a gameplay da nave, gente. E aí, o que vocês acharam?
Farina, you don't have to shoulder. Although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share. That's impossible. It was fated right from the—
But even if your burden doesn't need to be shared, just share it with me.
A witness. And if Tevat is, in its entirety, a show— If— He's right. I could confirm, but if things don't play out as expected— No, Farina. You should— But what if—
Ah, eita, a roupa preta.
Farina, you've worked so hard for so— Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone in whom, if you let this opportunity, think about it long and hard.
Eita, o que aquela da roupa preta tava falando com essa?
No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness—
Fine.
E ela não conseguiu se abrir. É, então, mas quando ela pensa em outra roupa?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive, she did very well. If she had let her resolve falter even once in these 5 centuries, it seems that trusting humanity—
I believe that I understand how your deception works. How would you build on this foundation to save the people of Fontaine?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Eudex of Fontaine has pinpointed— I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is no simple machine.
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so. Alas, your understanding of this device still lacks sufficient depth. In truth, it is no enactor of justice. It is, in fact, a device created to kill the god of justice.
To kill?
Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the Oratrice take down the god of justice, it will also take down the divine throne upon which she had— I mean, did you think I would be the sort to enjoy peaceful My work over these last 500 years has been— But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy the vast majority had to be accumulated.
It was all a part of your plan then.
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, had it only been used for that purpose. But only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon's divine throne, shaking the rules established by Celestia, and breaking through the institution that is the Seven.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor, but for the Hydro Archon. The destruction of that divine throne. If I do not misunderstand your intent.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you, of course. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to
Não tô acreditando que é isso mesmo. Não estou acreditando.
No, what? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more, O Hydro Dragon Sovereign.
All you've done throughout the years is...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how... Hydro Dragon, Hydro Dragon. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole the power you ancient dragons possess. I, for my part, am the god of justice. And is it not just that your original... Speaking of justice, I have always believed that just so, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was... Then, leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontanians, in other words, existence was Egeria's justice. And to me, defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people... At this point, we... Whether it be myself, Eudex Nervilette, the highest judge in our land, when you regain your full power as an...
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Eudex, at last, I now understand. In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living you are a deep things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
Menina.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervilette. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
E morreu. E aí? De nada. Agora ela vai poder viver.
I, Eudex Nervilette, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
Eu ainda tenho umas dúvidas aí. Por que que ele poderia...
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved...
It's time to end this. We must meet.
Didn't you say just a moment ago?
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our traveler. Now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help the root of the calamities befalling Fontaine. The beast that enacts the prop. Come with me, traveler.
Vamos lá. Agora é destruir a baleia. Meu Deus.
But how are we going to do that? It's huge!
I've already done my best to separate the power of the primordial from the way. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless we can find a way to attack it from within. I shall share a part of the ancient dragon's power with you. We shall look for an opening together. I can feel its sorrow turning into hostility.
Volte aqui.
Let the world collide!
Be sanctified. Silence!
The all-devouring narwhal cannot resist its instinct to devour. Continue to trigger its hostility. A chance will present itself.
Consegui? Não sei nem o que eu tô fazendo. Nossa senhora. Gepeto.
Why is there a hole-looking thingy over there? It looks really scary!
Então não é o Child, no fim das contas.
The wind rises. Know your place.
I will have order. Gather.
I have granted you my protection. Do not fear. Seize the
Tome.
moment and use my power to suppress its root from within.
Consegui? Rasguei. Eita. Isso. Que foi
Thanks for
isso?
helping with the cleanup. It should have been my job, but oh well. It was just supposed to be a short private training session for me. I didn't think that my disciple and my master's pet would start brawling in the meantime. Well, actually, I had a feeling that it would happen at some point, but they bumped into one another earlier than I thought. What a blunder.
That power.
Paimon has an idea. From what she said earlier, she must be Child's master. Skirk, right? It's just that he gave us the impression that she was...
I simply did not have anything to say to the weak. But you, on the other hand, so you may speak to me as equals. I have to agree. It's a strange use of a planet's primordial waters just to raise an... That kind of power is wasted on it. It's not cooperative. It eats too much. And I have more important things to do with my time than pet sitting. The only thing that creature has going for it is its looks. All in all, it fails as a pet.
Miss Skirk?
The point...
Well, being that this pet... so what sort of person is your master? Well, Child's master...
Oh, right. So you don't know him. Sorry, his name is Sertologi.
Sertologi?
I am unfamiliar.
Huh. So Master is insufficiently famous.
The foul?
Still nothing? Well, how about the...
Ooh, that one we've heard! Rhine Doctor's part of the Hexen Circle. She's Albedo's mom, right?
Ah, Hinedotir.
Oh, so you do know that name. To be honest, I also heard all of those names and titles from my master. I don't actually, but I suppose you understand now, yes?
Eita, a bruxa.
My master is likely a similar sort to Rhine-daughter. They are both pursuing some form of
Wait! Didn't you also mention a visionary person?
Actually, never mind that. That the all-devouring narwhal used up nearly all its strength fighting you. Such roiling hydro energies will prove difficult for the planet's deep seas to digest. As such, the Fontaine back on the surface has most likely been thrown into In other words, the prophecy that you've been fretting over should now be...
What?
O quê?
Not to worry. Focalor has...
Como é que é?
In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only Farina will remain, weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away.
Gente.
Hey! Help! Over here!
Então afundou mesmo, a cidade inteira. Ah, eles foram perdoados, por isso eles não dissolveram.
All hands, initiate emergency rescue!
Hurry! Hey, lend a hand!
Preminete.
Look! The water's receding!
E aí?
It's a miracle!
Water's receding.
We didn't dissolve. The prophecy was wrong. The prophecy was wrong.
Ah, então foi só uma maré.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
We're saved. The prophecy was wrong.
E cadê a visão dela? Tudo por culpa da baleia.
The soil renewed. The Spirit Diva Sula talks post-disaster rebuilding. I recently visited Poisson to meet old soil can still get skyship winglet, booner bait, the various disputes that people always call the first researcher mad, but few know what to call the second. And Wow! Paimon barely recognizes the people in the reports. Are those really?
What do you think? Pretty enthralling, huh? The value for these big scoops. Edwin's assistant, Jurier, created a true.
Paimon's curious.
And that's exactly. Oh, this time.
O que aconteceu? O que eu ganhei aqui? Item bonito aquele? O que era? Aqui. Lágrima das estrelas. Bora. Isso era pra inundar e dissolver todos. Porém, a neblina mudou só essa parte parando de dissolver. Pois é. E aí, tipo... Entendi. Achei interessante. Mas ainda tem história pra rolar, né? Olha aqui, um seguidor. Pepe Faxin. Pois muitas gracias.
Oh, it's you.
Hey, we're just having. I'm here to update myself on how things are going here.
Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Garunt Snezhevich. He represented the Knave in sending us a large amount of support. Our residents are hard at work as well.
Hello, Miss Charlotte. I'm a big fan of yours, but if you don't
I'm
mind,
your biggest fan.
could you not emphasize our
Follow
role
you
too much in your
until
reports?
you love
It's not
me.
charity.
I get where you're coming from. I'll keep it as.
That would be fine. Thank.
Oh, you're back too. How are things?
We finished laying down the construction materials.
Well, her reputation's greatly risen after that whole...
There's too much to consider in the reconstruction of Poisson.
Oh, wait, just a moment. Do you mind me asking a few questions?
Ao
You know,
luxo
about how you
mesmo,
felt
viu?
Before the duel, about what it was like facing down a god.
Forget it. I'm sure you can find a better theme than that.
I see you're the.
Well, if we're talking about doing things for my sake, you might as well just take a few more photos.
Of course I will. I'm not gonna let him off that easy. All right, then everyone who wants to be in the photo.
Sorrindo.
How did it go? Was it a good shot?
Not bad. Your addition really helped the composition of the picture.
Mm?
Hang on a moment. Let me snap a few more shots. All right, that should do it. I'll be back here later anyway, so let's call it a day.
You're very quick.
Speed is also not to.
Wow.
I'll hazard a guess that this is how you got that interview.
Whoa, you're.
That's a.
In truth, I told him that it.
You're right.
Stay safe now. And.
Muito bem, aqui tudo ótimo. Eu quero saber da Furina, não quero saber dessa papagadaiada aqui.
Wow, guess we're here again, huh? There's a real nostalgia.
Looks like you've been missing us.
Duke! Did you come all the way to the entrance to...
Of course.
Mas é claro.
I'm here to welcome you and our dear Miss Charlotte, whom are...
It's an honor to finally meet the much-rumored Duke.
No need to thank me.
Of course, of course.
All right then, this way.
This way. Furina agora só na lendária. Ah, não acredito.
It would seem that Miss Lorvine doesn't...
Sir, please.
But...
No, I...
Now, I might not look it, but I actually... The boat that brought... Still, if I might...
I have to apologize, but that ship is present...
Really?
You already know my answer, I'm afraid. Best you interview our head nurse instead. Or perhaps...
Did you really have to use the... Well, then, 2 solo...
Is my hair messed up?
Things sure are getting pretty lively here. Oh, seems like everyone's here. Would any of you like to...
Ah.
Uma bebida nova que ela inventou.
Hey, Miss Shark.
Sure. Sure. Do I have to smile? So, how have things been...
Same old same.
Other than that flying ship.
That's why I decided to let the interview go through.
You're too kind, sir.
I see. Lots
see.
of things.
He sure did win the...
I'll tell them that there's...
Oh.
What change can there be? As to what Miss Farina's departure will mean for the nation, and if our laws and governance will be transformed, we'll leave those to the folks in
A
the overworld.
partida da senhorita Furina?
Hey everyone, the photo shoot's done.
Good. In that case, let's call it a...
Amanhã temos lendária. Amanhã vamos fazer lendária. Com certeza.
There'll be a next...
Maybe. All right. Last stop, the docks.
The docks. Deixa eu aproveitar para recuperar meu HP. Cadê?
The wind rises.
O elevador está se movendo. Furica, lica, lica. Ah. Uhum.
How brilliant!
Cadê o bicho? Ela só tá me jogado, né?
Navia mentioned that she stayed in...
Traveler, Paimon. Ah, and Miss Charlotte.
E Miss Charlotte.
Would you like a magic pocket? What sort of gadget? It's a wondrous trick of friend. You could just make a friend like Fremine here. Isn't that right, Fremine? To be honest, that sounds pretty sweet. Could I have...
You sure are working hard to help Fremine socialize.
He was the one who proposed doing this. He even wants to...
Yes, I was planning to first introduce Pear.
That
Bears?
said, would anyone want to see a diver escape underwater?
Oh, it'll work out.
Lynette, could you...
Got it.
My, that Charlotte is rather perceptive. Father says that...
That's a...
Oh,
Father
after Lady
says...
A diplomatic gift? A gnosis?
My
Yes,
gnosis?
I was quite surprised at first myself. But when it could have been done as an apology for the incident with Lord Child, or as thanks for his help in tying the all-devouring narwhal. Furthermore, Father did also lend significant aid to...
That's true, but this is a gnosis we're talking about.
I would agree, but I've also heard that it seems that...
Como é que é?
So there's some reason for...
I suspect you'll have to ask him about that yourself. Ah,
O que teve a gnoses? Eu não li.
Paimon didn't think he'd have the time for that. But back to the...
they say that he's returned to Snezhnaya to recover from his wounds. I hear that the recent disaster really did a number on his health.
That's true. When you think about it, we've had loads of run-ins with the Fatui.
So shocked by such a simple switching of sides?
Father!
Father! Alertina!
Well, what do you know? Come to the docks to see how my children are doing and meet the traveler by chance.
Are you going to take the gnosis?
That is our duty as Harbinger. Don't be too preoccupied with sides. The goal of the Fatui concerns not a single place or switching my masks.
Gnosis Hydro?
That depends on many things. No one truly knows. As for you, I very much look forward to our next collaboration. Good things cannot be achieved alone, and you've proved yourselves to be great partners. A vision.
A gente deu a visão pra ela.
And that's a wrap for me. Huh?
Greetings, Miss Journalist.
Hello.
That is correct. So forgive me, but I will not be able to serve as a subject in your article. However, feel free to write as much as you'd like. The sea breeze is quite pleasant.
Farewell, Father.
Fiquei confuso
She
também.
has such an intimidating presence. I didn't even dare to take a picture. Thankfully, I've already wrapped up all my pre-skit.
Don't be too nervous. Why don't you take a magic pocket before
A
you
Magic
go?
Pocket.
Here, traveler, Paimon.
To move things about?
That's right. I guess this must be... All right, then.
Well, guess we sent Charlotte off. Shall we go see how Nivelette's doing?
Vamos lá.
Squall Fury.
Ó, que bonitinho, os petzinhos. Bora. Olha, assistindo! Voltou! Olha, ganhamos um seguidor. Oi, Sátiro. Pois muitas gracias.
Quit following me.
Ué, procure por novilé. Por que eu entrei nesse caralho?
Behold.
The entrance to the fortress! Ooh, he really is there!
Squall Fury.
Que lindo aqui. E Furina.
So, you really are here, Nivelette! Paimon didn't think you were going to have...
Really? Oh, I suppose you must have met Mr. Linney. In any case, you came at a good time. I was just considering reaching out to you to set up a meeting, so I may...
Aw, Paimon's glad that you remember. Alright, let's have it then. How was fun?
It is strange how words can often leave a...
Whoa. So that's what happened? Focalor destroyed the divine throne of the Hydro Archon and restored your power to you. Transformed, but Paimon still doesn't quite get what you did to save the Fontanians from...
For me, the authority of the ancient dragons refers to absolute control over the hydro element. Fontanians were incomplete humans born of Egeria's use of the power of the primordials, but so long as those primordial energies remain within them, I could use the ancient dragon's authority to grant them true blood, after the fashion. In other words, when I gave my verdict, Fontanians became true humans, and
Focalor must have counted on you to make that decision as well. Your verdict was the key to making the Yeah, and in a manner of speaking, Focalor finally managed to fulfill the original Hydro Archon's...
it seems from your expressions that you still have more things you wish to ask.
Sim, Furina.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. I have investigated his case along many avenues, and I have learned that he once fell into an unknown chasm when he was young. There, by chance, he awakened the... But whether it be by sentiment or reason, that should not have been enough to consider him the root cause of the disaster. As for the judgment passed by the orator, whether it was due to that liability by association, or Focalor deliberately using him...
Guess Focalor had Fontanians in mind the whole time. In the end, it was thanks to her... hang on a second. Back when Fontanians hadn't yet become real humans, were the children they had also...
Life has always flowed like water. Do you...
Yeah, Lynette said the fountain is...
In truth, even those couples did not know that such prayers were no mere custom. Those Oceanids who were blessed within the spring water would later descend as new humans.
Paimon sorta gets it now.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Sobre a gnose de Fontaine.
Oh, that's right! They say you've given it to the knave as a diplomatic gift or something.
Leaving aside their intentionality, the two Fatui Harbingers have indeed done much for their sole remaining goal in Fontaine, at least at this point, would seem the Oratrice has ceased to function. The Hydro Archon's divine throne is now no more. As such, it has lost all meaning for Fontaine. If the Fatui have impure designs, then we might as well accede to their request now, and avoid unnecessary...
What complicated considerations? Paimon thought you were just giving it to them out of gratitude to the knave.
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
Yeah, about that. Risley said Farina has already left.
Ela foi pra onde, né?
Ah, Lady Farina. The people are only aware that her death sentence has not been carried out. She abdicated the post of Hydro Archon and left a fair... I related Focalor's words to her faithfully and completely. After hearing them, she seemed neither saddened nor comforted. She simply said that she was tired. Having said that, she then packed her things and moved out of the opera house. Not unlike how an ordinary person might.
But she...
You need not worry. I will make arrangements to ensure that she will not want for food. In truth, I am somewhat happy for her. But now that she no longer has to play the role of Focalor the Hydro Archon, she can finally lay down her...
What about you then? What are your plans now that you've regained your full powers?
After Focalor passed on, the Oratrice also... This matter will directly affect our trials. After much careful consideration, I've decided to take over its role in our courts. From now on, I shall hear...
Looks like you're still considering stuff from the...
As an elemental dragon, there are indeed many things that I must do. But this power, and this duty, in a manner of... As such, before I attend to my other responsibilities, I must first and foremost continue to serve Fontaine as its highest judge. The duty of the Hydro Sovereign and the duty of the Eudex. Additionally, the Hydro Archon's departure has brought about another problem, which is that the Opera House shall no...
That's true. That power was derived from the people's faith. Wait, but the various mechs and machines in the city are all...
As I am now, I have full command over New Musia, and it can serve as a complete substitute. Another reason why I cannot quite...
Wow. This ancient dragon's authority...
Ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it. You will soon be heading to Natlan, I presume?
Natlan?
I'm afraid that I have little talent as a travel guide, so all I can do is tell you, as far as I'm aware, Natlan can be said to be a nation of dragons.
Dragons?
A nation of dragons?
No, I suspect that I would not find myself welcome. Unlike ancient dragons such as myself, the dragons of Natlan have undergone long years of development and evolution. Large numbers of them have entered a form of code. Natlan is also the nation of war. War ravages those lands like an There is one other piece of information I got incidentally from my negotiations with the knave. The harbinger known as the Captain has thrown his hat into the endless ring of war.
Captain.
Sounds like a real tough cousin.
I suggest that you fully prepare yourself before going to Natlan. In the meantime, ask away. I will tell you the truth as I know it.
É isso, né?
Hang on a sec. When we spoke to Linny earlier, he mentioned that your attitude towards giving, we guessed that there might be some...
No wonder the House of the Hearth is the fit. So regarding this specific issue, I was just getting... In truth, I exchanged some further words with that lady named Skirk after sending you two back to the surface. It went something like this.
Ah, tem uma história. Aquela Skirk.
Well, we're going to head topside to see what's going on. You...
What next?
The all-devouring narwhal isn't here, so I'm no longer getting any interference. I can finally catch the scent of your power, what it's made of. It is the authority of the planet's primordial dragons, but with something very similar to a god's curse mixed in. I'm sure I've encountered something like this before.
I do not know what you speak.
Of course. You should have the remains of the third descender on your person, yes?
Remains? I've never heard...
According to your parlance, I believe it may be called a gnosis.
Well, that much is true. After Focalor's divinity faded, she handed her gnosis, but I fear I have never heard of it described in the...
I've been training with my master, the Fowl, ever since I was young, and I have never returned to the surface since. So most of the information I possess, I got from him. It is only natural for those who are greater than humanity to possess a different sort of common sense. Which is why regardless, you should probably get rid of objects of misfortune to prevent any disasters from befalling you. To live in itself is a blessing. But once a person dies, the bond...
What do you mean by that?
No need to fret. These are just my...
This third descender you refer to.
Master never mentioned them to me. Perhaps it just wasn't that important. If you're interested, though, I could ask him. I'll be sure to pass the answer on.
Next time, you believe...
I do. Wait. I have a disciple of my own, don't I?
Entendi. Olha que os mistérios agora vão virar amigas.
That's what she told me. Whether it would prove useful or...
The remains of the... So that's what the gnosis actually are. Paimon just thought they looked like chess pieces. How could they be a person's
All the same, assuming that there was no misunderstanding or special metaphor.
And she said that it would bring misfortune and that you should check it.
If she speaks the truth, then I would simply be putting... I had guessed that you might already be familiar with this concept, but that means that the gnosis, which are exceedingly element compatible and can even enhance elemental abilities. I wonder.
Like being able to use elemental powers without a vision. That does sort of count as... No, let's not think about this stuff right. Comparing the Traveler to the dead third descender and all. That's what you say, but this... Once Child recovers, let's get some more answers out of him.
I too believe it unwise to make too many blind guesses when information is lacking.
Alright. Whatever the case is...
Yes. All of Focalor's efforts were for...
But she sacrificed herself in the end as a god. And she suffered through all those...
I suppose that would be the mystery of a god's will. I suspect not.
The
But
god's
once in a
will.
while, I too would guess that if wishes, life flows like water, and rain is the final answer. And what, ultimately, is the difference?
Acabou.
The wind rises.
Acabou. Acabou. Tem um domínio novo? Ah, menino. Justo agora. Que time que eu uso, né? A gente pode montar um. Eu adoro esse time aqui.
I have high hopes for this journey.
I have hopes for the journey. Nossa, eu tô assim um pouco sem palavras pra esse final.
Shine down.
Muito foda, gente. Maravilhoso.
Temple of Wisdom.
Strike a pose.
Cadê ela?
Time to shine.
Oxi.
Mind the side effects.
Illusion shattered.
Remember. Mas fica parado aqui, demônio. Como que eu vou acertar esse bicho?
Make yourselves a room.
Opa. É isso aí. Entrando.
Shine down.
Making a turn for the better.
Make it a turn for the better.
Illusion shell.
A bitter pill.
The worlds collide.
Wisdom. Grow.
Eita, preula. Eita, que voltamos.
Mind the side effects. Remember, help comes first.
Cuspida pra fora?
Sharing my knowledge. Time to shine.
Shine down. Torn to oblivion.
Bora. Ah, foi fácil. Não é difícil não, é só grande. Às vezes é muito grande, a gente acha que é difícil, mas não é, gente. Nem sei qual que é o que a Furina usa. Ó. Olha, tem mais uma missão aqui. 2 missõezinhas. A missão da Furica. Muito bem, gente. E eu acho que por hoje é só, né? Recompensas de reputação. Vamos lá. Eu não vi a gameplay da nave, eu vou ver agora. Eita, que do nada isso. Gente, então a gente vai encerrando a nossa livezinha maravilhosa. Fizemos aí toda a missão, os babados e o tiroteio todo. Amanhã a gente vai fazer a nossa missão com a Furina para ver o que aconteceu com ela. E eu me meti aqui nesse negócio que eu nem sei o que tá acontecendo. Então vou pegar a minha reputação, minha amiga. Vamos. Pronto. O que será isso? Que loucura. Ih, tem um monte de missão nova. Olha, tudo pra gente fazer. Beleza. Faremos aí nos próximos episódios. Acabaram com o Megli. Por quê? O Migli. Amanhã a gente vai farmar mais para a nossa criança da Furica, Lica Lica. Vamos fazer a missão de Arconte, a missão especial dela. Ah, é real. Pensei que era uma zoeira. É isso, gente linda! Amanhã estamos aí. Amanhã é feriadão aqui, já passar o dia inteiro aí jogando, se divertindo. A gente vai precisar disso aqui, ó. Então é isso, gente. Beijinho, bom fim de quarta pra vocês. Bom descanso, boa furinada e amanhã a gente vai furinar mais. Beijinhos! Hasta amanhã!